This is the Rising Goddess Podcast, and I'm your host, Michelle Torrance. This is a space where when we start diving deep, we're talking spiritual, mental, and physical. We're getting real and connecting with ourselves and others in the most intimate ways. We'll be talking all things sacred sexual, relationship building, womb healing, connection, and connecting with and through our bodies, how to use our sexual and sensual energies to create, manifest, and heal our lives in our individual and collective ancient feminine lines, while intertwining our healing and connection with the divine masculine. We'll learn from amazing humans who take time and share their wisdom and sacred healing magic. Rising humans who are here in this world to be healers, teachers, guides, priestesses, warriors, shamans, and all divine sisters and brothers in rising. We'll get witchy, sassy, sexy, and saucy, talking all things that align us with our true nature and authentic selves, creating a community of divine feminine and masculine rising to be a massive part in this shift of world healing. So grab some green juice, light some cannabis, get your blankets, or sit by the fire. Let's rise up together. Catch you on the inside, dolls. Hello, my rising humans, and welcome to this next episode. Today we are talking with the lovely Tahsha Renee. Tahsha Renee is an empowerment coach, a blue Reiki Master, a psychic, and hypnotherapist. She's the owner of Unleash Your Divine Beast, where she offers one-on-one coaching and healing with the help of her psychic abilities to help her clients take back their power. Her clients are people who feel that they are right on the verge of stepping fully into the light of who they are, but they can't seem to figure out how to get past their blocks, whether it's past pain or trauma, limiting beliefs, lack of self-love or confidence. All of these are keeping them from doing that. So she teaches her clients how to unleash their divine beast and let that part of them take over so they can reclaim their birthright as the powerful badasses they really are, and use that to make the impact in the world the way that they are meant to. So she is absolutely right in line with the Rising Goddess community and tribe. So I'm so excited to have you listen to this. So take a seat, go for a jog, whatever you are doing, and enjoy. Hop onto the Rising Goddess Facebook page when you're done with this, and let's have a conversation. Share with me your thoughts and what you took away from it. So have a fantastic day. I'll catch you on the inside.
All right. Hello, and welcome back to the Rising Goddess podcast. I'm here today with the beautiful Tahsha. And if you are new to my podcast, you guys learn now I will sing to you. It doesn't matter who you are. Sometimes the voice just comes through and it's not American Idol status, but it will sing to you. So we have the beautiful Tahsha Renee on today, and she is here to share with us all the amazingness that is about her. So before we dive into really some of the deep questions about what I really kind of want to touch base with, I have the same question that I ask every guest in the very beginning. What do you love about being a human right now in this time and space?
Well, that's a good question. I think honestly, for me, it's been the ability to learn how to manifest. That's probably been my biggest, most awesome thing I think that I've taken away from being a human lately, anyways, in this time frame of just realizing how that we have a choice in how our lives go, and our voice and our choices and our thoughts matter, and that we have power. We have the power to change our lives. So yeah, that would be probably my answer on that.
I love that. And I love that you brought up the word power. And I think that word can trigger or activate people. So let me ask you this. What does the definition of power mean to you?
Well, I think it's probably for me, I think it's a feeling. For one, it's a feeling of being very much loving yourself fully, completely, and being able to speak your truth in a way that you don't care, or it doesn't affect you on how other people are going to see you, or chastise you, judge you, because you're going to get judged no matter what you do these days.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's a matter of saying that I'm in a place where I speak my power and my truth. And because I know it's my truth, I don't really care what anybody else thinks. You're not afraid of judgment anymore.
I love that. Power equals truth. That really resonated with me right there. So I love that. So let's go ahead and dive in and let's get to know you. Who is Tahsha? Who were you when you were younger? Share us a little bit about your history of who you were a bit, and then what kind of event happened or transpired in your life that maybe shifted you from where you were to where you are now. And then share with us, who is Tahsha now?
So I grew up in what I describe now as being the white sheep in the all black sheep family.
Okay.
That's kind of, and for the longest time, I thought it was the opposite. Cause I have 3 other siblings, and I very much grew up in this space of needing more, wanting more, wanting a relationship with my father very badly. And my parents just being, not awake. And not realizing that it wasn't Tahsha being selfish or being shitty. She just was a child that needed more. I did not understand that I had empathic skills or even psychic abilities until, my adult years. So I had no idea to even express why it was that I so desperately wanted to be and have that attention, that connection, so to speak. So I've been out on my own since I was 17. I was kicked out of my house when I was 17. And my father emancipated me without me knowing, which was good times. And so I've kind of been on my own. I had to re-enroll myself back into high school by myself and graduate during my senior year and go through that whole process. And I kind of just had an estranged relationship with my family for the most part. Currently haven't talked to my father in 11 years and not by my choice. He doesn't want anything to do with me. So, which is fine. Like my family's we're just really, 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 really different. And I think probably what really, really changed me was I had a boyfriend who I was very much in love with about 11 years ago. And I kind of describe it as, I felt like in the world, I was walking around and like I was a ghost and nobody could really truly see me. Like I was like screaming at people and doing all these things and nobody could actually see me. And when my ex came along, Joshua, he could see me. And I felt this connection with him that I haven't felt, with anyone ever. And so my whole life was him. And he cheated on me and did a couple of other things. And those moments of that happening, I did not know how to process that. And so instead of processing the pain and the emotion of it, my body turned against itself. And I was having panic attacks every 2 hours, 24 hours a day for 3 months straight. Even in the middle of the night. And I also deal with hypoglycemia, and the hypoglycemia and the panic attacks felt the same. So I was eating every 2 hours, 24 hours a day, even in the middle of the night. And I gained 60 pounds in 3 months. I lost 2 jobs. I could not leave my house at this point because the anxiety was I was getting no sleep. I got basically no sleep for 3 months. So whenever I would try to leave the house, everything was so overwhelming that I would start to have panic attacks. And so it turned into agoraphobia. And I almost put myself into a mental institution. I mean, it was crazy. And my best friend I literally had no one. She left me, couldn't deal with what was going on with me. I slept with a Bible in my arms at night. I drove with it on my lap, even though I'm not religious. It was the closest thing I could get to spirituality at that point, right? Because I wasn't super awake in the sense of understanding any real spirituality in that sense, just the whole Bible.
Yeah.
And of course, you go to open up the Bible and read it and it's all damnation and all this crap. So I never read it. I was just wanted to hold on to it, So, and I could only watch, A Need to Breathe is a Christian rock band that I love. And I could only hear their music and I could only watch Roseanne and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Those were the only 2 TV shows I could watch that didn't give me anxiety. It was great.
I love it.
Right? So anyway, so I ended up at one point really being so overweight. And so I used to be this little tiny 118 pounds, could have anything I wanted. I mean, it was like that. Everything was in my looks. And when that disappeared, it was really difficult on me. And so I was hiding from everyone that I knew. I wouldn't let anyone see me. I would go to the gym and cry when I saw myself in the mirror. I just was full of self-hatred, a lot of self-hatred talk that was going on there that I had to try to get through. And at one point I realized, and I was still going back and forth with my ex, by the way, even though he'd found somebody else, he like couldn't decide between him, her, or I. And of course I didn't love myself, so it didn't matter. I just wanted him. And so I finally decided if I didn't get out of Portland, I was never going to get out of this like scenario in this situation. So a friend of mine lived in Arizona. I moved there by myself, back to my car. By the way, I was having panic attacks every 15 minutes when I would try to be in a car. And when I decided to leave, I drove to my mom's house, which is 45 minutes away, no panic attack. And I drove 5 hours a day. It took me 3 days to move to Arizona, no panic attack driving at all. So total miraculous, source totally rising up to say, we need to get you here, right? We need to get you here. And
this was the right decision for sure.
Right. Still not knowing, that this was happening in that direction, just kind of like a whoa.
Yeah.
And so I got there and things went even more downhill. My dog died that I'd had for like 10 years. I had no idea she was sick, took her into the vet and they said, oh, her organs are shutting down. You have to put her down right now. And that was like really difficult. I mean, it was like dramatic drop to your knees, pound it was like some movie. It was horrible. It was really very hard. And I couldn't even stay with her while they put her down because I was like kept almost passing out from like her having to leave me. She was like my daughter. It was horrible. Yeah. And so I left her there to die with strangers, which I spent a very long time hating myself for. And when I got home, my best friend who I'd lived with, I'd actually moved out of her house because she tried to make me homeless twice. So literally it was just like this thing after thing after thing that was happening. And I almost killed myself at that point. My so-called love of my life was still with somebody else. My father was still not speaking to me. My mother had all of a sudden stopped speaking to me as well. My dog had just died. My best friend wanted nothing to do with me. And I literally was like, why? Like, why? And so I started to plan my death by drowning. And as I filled up the sink to see what it might feel like and put my head into the basin full of water, I heard my own voice in my head, but we all know it wasn't, that said, what about school? You also moved here to go to school. I really wanted to be a life coach. And so I was like, oh, and the voice basically said, try that first. And if you still don't want to be here after that, then go ahead. And so I did. I went down to the school and I somehow got approved for financial aid. And it was Southwest Institute of Healing Arts. It's one of the only fully accredited healing arts schools in the whole U.S. And there I found my gifts in Reiki and hypnotherapy and my psychic abilities on a much larger level. And I met Stephanie Quinn, who was my best friend, and all these things happened that finally started to make some sense. And that's what finally realized. I was like, oh, I was not in a breakdown. I was having a breakthrough. So now when I say it, I try really hard to not say I had a breakdown. It's like, oh, I was having a breakthrough. I was having an awakening. I was having a dark night of the soul that lasted for 3 months of a long night, And I'm still, to be totally honest, I'm still trying to get through some of that stuff. I still have a hard time being too far from my house. But it is getting much, much better because I'm finally getting the courage up to realize how powerful I am. And it really has shifted. I've done so many different types of things in coaching. In a sense of, I was just doing psychic readings for like the longest time. It was just psychic readings, and I was doing Reiki. I was really, really gifted in Reiki, even though for the longest time I just felt like it was, when I first went into Reiki, I literally got into the class and I was like irritated that I had to take the class. And everybody's sitting around in their half circle of kumbaya with their Mexican blankets on the floor, and the candles are lit, and everybody's all, tell us your experiences with Reiki. And they're going around the thing, and everybody's like saying these miraculous things that have happened. They get to me and I go, I think Reiki is a bunch of horseshit. That was my response, because I'm so honest, right? And I was so pissed that I was there because I was like, this is just dumb. And it was literally like something out of like a movie scene. Everybody was all silence, just mouths open, looking at each other, like, oh my God. And the teachers all of a sudden just start cracking up laughing. I loved my teachers so much. They're like, well, you wouldn't be the first or last person to think that, Tahsha. And I was like, well, whatever. I don't even care. So by the end of the weekend, because they made you do it in a weekend time frame, I was apologizing profusely because people were having emotional responses on my table. I was like supposedly doing this awesome, amazing, incredible thing. And I was just kind of like, okay, I feel like I'm just doing this, but all right, whatever. You know, it was an interesting thing that happened in the aspect of really becoming very gifted in a healing aspect. But yeah, so lots of stuff happened in that time period in the past, like 11 years. It's been really just insane. And I've gone from doing just psychic readings and then going into, you know, Cupid coaching, which I still do, which is the love relationship coaching. I still do if people request that. And now I've gone into really stepping into empowerment coaching because I finally realized how important my voice was. And I grew up with this, like you were saying in the beginning, this feeling of you're too loud, you're too much. And I was attracting that because I believed it. I was attracting men that would tell me, God, you're just too much. You're too intense. God, why are you so loud? I would start talking and they would literally say, shh, and try to shush me. Oh, I don't even know, but I can tell you, girl, that I just wanted to punch babies. I was so mad at that. It's like, oh my God, was I mad at that. And so I had to get to a place where I was like, it's not that I had to step into the fact that I was okay with that. I had to really learn to love and accept myself. And when I finally stepped into that there was nothing wrong with me. There was nothing wrong with me. That I was meant to speak loudly so that when I do finally speak on stages to people, it'll be so the people in the back row can fucking hear me. Okay. So that people who feel like they are too much or too intense or whatever, still speak up and talk. It's important. And that was where I finally realized that was what I really wanted to start coaching people. I wanted to clear out their pain and all their bullshit and all the stuff they're carrying around and all the unforgiveness and I hate yous to yourself and to everybody else. And I wanted them to clear all of that so they could get to the core of who they were, which was their personal power, which says, you know, who you really are. And it inspires others to do the same. And that's really what we're here to do. We're here to speak so loudly that I light a fire in you that's already lit in you, by the way. It just makes it burn a little brighter so that we can continue to do it so the whole world's lit up, you know, and that's my long-term goal, is to be a person who helps that process.
I loved all of that, every single thing. I wrote down so many amazing things. And the one thing I really, really, really wanted to touch on, and I resonate so much with you on this, is the too muchness. I have always been told you're too loud, you're too bright, or your hair's too wacky, your clothes are too whatever, but it was the loudness that always made me go like this. And so I would quiet myself down to the point where I was dimming the flame.
Yeah.
And I know so many women and men out there who feel that flame cap that's coming down because they feel like they're too much. And Tahsha and I are here to tell you, your too muchness could be the gift.
No, it is. It is the gift.
I love it.
That is the gift. It's the thing. It's all kind of like the whole saying, whatever we resist persists. The moment you step into saying, I am too much and I don't give a fuck.
Yes, sister.
When that comes out of your mouth, people stop complaining. You believe it? People stop complaining that you're too much and start loving that about you. They start coming to you and saying, I just love how you speak and how you talk and the things that you talk about. I want to be able to do that. That's what happens. And then the people who do start to say or keep saying that, that's old energy, right? It's just excess energy. It's just trying to move out. You see it and you go, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you just don't even care. You're like, okay, well, that's your issue. I don't really, praying for your issues over there, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Whatever that is, And it's funny because, I wrote a book called Be the Hero of Your Own Story. And it was The book is about obviously personal power in the sense of like understanding that you are your own hero, nobody saves you. You have gifts and abilities, no matter, even if you're somebody who's been working in a cubicle your whole life and don't feel like you can connect spiritually with anything. You still have gifts and abilities, spiritual gifts and abilities. You are still intuitive. You are still psychic. You still have all these things, and helping people to understand that. But also it was kind of hard for me to do that book and post my story recently. I posted it on Facebook because I felt like, because I wasn't molested, or I wasn't like beaten, or I wasn't had this massive, horrendous, horrific, traumatizing past in that sense of physicality, that I didn't think my story really mattered. And literally just, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, but I think I posted my story talking about that my mom did put her hands on me once, and my father put his hands on me once. It was hard. I sat there for a minute and looking at the live button, because you go live, right? And I'm just like, oh God, do I do this? Yeah. And so I did. I pushed the button, and it's funny because I got to the part where I was talking about what happened to me, and that didn't make me emotional, which was awesome, right? It's totally a sign usually that if you have worked on it. If you haven't worked on it, you've got no emotion, there's probably a problem.
Yeah.
But if you've worked on it and you don't have the emotion, it usually means you've worked past it and you've done that work. So it didn't make me upset. What made me literally lose my shit, like I literally started like crying so much I could hardly talk, was when I talked about how only hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you're looking at what your parents have done to you, even if they have molested you or beaten you or whoever's like done horrible things to you, or who haven't done the so-called bad things, but it still made it bad for you, to remember that. And then I started to say how I just really, it's hard for me to talk now, I'm emotional about it. I really, really wanted so desperately for my parents, those parts in my parents that made them hurt me, to be healed. And that's what made me emotional, because and that's what made me finally realize, okay, wow, I really have done so much work that I only wish peace for the people who have harmed me. Oh, it's massive.
That's huge.
It's huge. And it took a lot. The forgiveness work that I tell people to do is sitting down, closing your eyes, pulling in whoever hurt you, pulling in their energy, even if they're still alive. You can still do this. I mean, you call in somebody's soul, you're talking to them, okay? Yep. So pulling in their soul and then saying to them, so-and-so, like my father was like, Dad, I forgive you. And I remember the first thing I said it out loud, and I was like, oh my God, that is so not true. I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
How could you? And so then I just said, I gave myself permission to just get pissed.
Yes.
And I just started yelling and screaming and saying all the things that I wanted to say to him that he would never allow me to even say. And then once I got that out, and I was sweating profusely from all of it, I started to repeat it again. I forgive you. And I still didn't feel right about it. And I had to go through the emotions of anger, and then sadness, and then finally acceptance. It took me 3 times, about 45 minutes each, to do that. But after I was done with that, and then had the whole epiphany of only hurt people, I just was like at peace with it. I did do it with like almost like 6 of my family members. It was horrible. But it really did, the process did, you have to really want to let go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what I love about the process is that you throw yourself, or whether, I know for me, sometimes I'll look into the mirror or I'll write it down sometimes, because for me, that tends to allow my throat to open when I write first. Yes. But the fact that you stood it and you were like, you know what, I'm going to say this. I'm just going to get it out and say it. I forgive you. And then allowing yourself to not run or bypass the response that your body is giving to you, and diving into the response of that and going through that shadow work. And this is something that we talk a lot about with multiple guests here on the podcast. And if you've been listening, my listeners know that shadow work is something that is really, really, just important to my heart, because that is really truly how you are able to find your light, is by going in through the shadows. And thank you for doing the shadow work too, because not only with you doing your work independently helps and heal your energy and your karmic line, but it's healing the collective. And that is something that thank you for that, because it's a brave thing to go into that. And when you were saying, I wrote this down, too. First of all, I'm hypoglycemic as well, and I used to study have panic and anxiety attacks, and the same emotion. You're very correct in that feeling, that response. It feels like you're either hungry or you're having it. So you're either you're all over the place.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Oh gosh, there was one thing it'll come back to me. Oh, no, you know what? It'll come back to me when we're going through the conversation.
It's interesting though. Do you, I mean, I know that I noticed that a lot of people who are deep empaths or who are spiritual psychics, all of that, deal with anxiety. Like, and it's because we feel things like 10 times more than a person who's not quite open to that yet, right? I used to say the normal people, but I don't think anything's normal. But yes. You know what I mean? In that sense, like we do feel things a lot different. So for instance, because I'm not out of my house a lot, when I do get out, everything's really overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Like all of a sudden I hear all the sounds and all the people talking and all the people walking by and the cars and and I live in downtown. So it's like really intense.
Yeah.
And so I find that it's a lot of people do have this, which I also wanted to people that there are some people who get diagnosed with schizophrenia or bipolar and I'm definitely not downplaying the whole illness of that by any means, but some people have that and it's not what they have. They actually just are gifted. You are actually hearing source. You know what I mean? You're not actually crazy.
Right. Well, that's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you for saying that word again. As we go into that, you're not really crazy. And I fully understand and agree with you too, not downplaying any sort of that, because there are chemical things, there are things that happen with that. But I feel that a lot of people, such as conditionally or societally named ADD, I would be labeled ADD. However, I just have a very high frequency energy. And that's how I feel it happens. But I know that when I started going through my awakening process, there was a point in my life where a few months where I felt I was going crazy. And so for you out there, for you who are growing and you are rising and you are starting to see things from a different perspective because you're allowing yourself to feel things, you're not going crazy. You are living. And this is your rising. And so thank you for touching on that because...
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like a rising. It feels like you're breaking. It feels like, I literally, when I went through that thing, the whole 3 months of panic attacks, I literally was calling places to see if they would take me. Because I was this close to admitting myself because I couldn't... 3 months, I couldn't function. I was like a completely just like, I still to this day don't know how I didn't end up just totally crazy because it does feel like that because you don't I was doing EFT and EFT was actually making it worse because my meridians, everything was so heightened that any of this heightened me even more because it made me more inside my body and I didn't want to be anywhere near that, so it does feel very much like you're saying shadow work, dark night of the soul. Like it's very much a place of an awakening. And that awakening can be very painful, but yet amazing and incredible, from that as well. There's been so much growth and beauty and my tribe is like the shit.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else used to be around me was just horrible, awful people that were just, you know what I mean? So, but I had to be somebody that rose out of that myself. I had to be the first tribe member, so to speak. And really go beyond and say, I believe I have the power to change my life and change things. I manifested the place that I live in currently. I was almost homeless 3 times in 1 year and got tired of my life. I was 40, I'm 42 and I was 40. I was renting a room in a woman's house, in a woman's place. And I was making $13.50 an hour working from home because I couldn't leave my house. And, I one day was like, I want more from my life. So I started saying to the universe every day, you get me a high paying job where I can have my own beautiful home in the middle of downtown Portland, overlooking all of downtown. And 3 months later, somebody out of the blue called me off Facebook that I never met in person and said, I have this awesome job that's going to be paying literally 3 times the amount I was making, working from home and salary. And she's like, do you want it? And I was like,
thank you more, please.
Thank you for that lovely gift. And it took me 2 full weeks to realize that I could afford to live on my own. It took me 2 full weeks because it had not totally hit me yet. And I was doing math and I was like, holy shit. I can live by myself. And then 3 months later, I ended up in the middle of the Pearl District of downtown Berlin, which is the nicest place of downtown, on a 12th floor of a beautiful high rise with an incredible view that literally makes me cry when I look at certain things that are happening out there. And it's been insane. It's been awesome. And it's amazing how when you do finally believe in who you are, what you have to offer, and we all have those days. I mean, I was telling before we started the podcast, I was having one of those days today, just to be totally human and transparent, that as a whole, I know the truth of who I am. I know my power. I know what I'm worth. I know my value. And I speak from that as a whole. But there are still days as a human that I wake up and go, man, nothing's really working out my way today. And it really does challenge me to remember my value and worth. And I have to really get into a place of, okay, my body's reacting one way, and I sometimes don't have a choice, especially somebody with anxiety. You don't have that choice all the time, how your body's reacting. You can still change your thoughts. You always have that choice. I don't care if you're repeating the one phrase, which is one of the most powerful things you can ever say, which is, I'm willing to see my life as different and better than what it is right now. That is one of the most powerful things you can ever say, because it gives this little tiny crack for source to go, oh, okay, let's see what we can, let's do that for you. You're willing to see that? Okay, then let us show you what that can be like. I often refer to source as a big, huge restaurant just waiting for us to put our order in.
I love it.
Because source does not care if you are murdering. I'm going to just challenge some people. They do not care if you're murdering people or raping people or doing whatever. They are perfect and whole over there. So nothing is bad over there. Everything that they're experiencing is just an experience. What happens to you from those experiences is your decision from doing what you do. And you will have consequences, so to speak, from those things, right? So if you are sitting back and saying, nobody ever loves me, why can't I get a man that treats me right, or woman, partner treats you right? Why is it, this, that, and that, why is my life, blah, blah, blah. And the universe goes, oh, well, we'll show you. You asked why, so we're going to show you. The minute you start saying, I wonder how my life can be better. Show me how my life can be better. Or you start saying, I'm valuable and amazing and powerful and strong and I'm all these things. And the universe goes, oh, yes, you are. Here you go. Thank you for putting that order in. We'll go ahead and give you that. They just don't care.
Yeah.
They don't.
Right. And that's powerful. It really is powerful. And that's how I describe it. And when I'm teaching on the law of attraction, the law of attraction isn't for you or against you. It's merely just responding to the vibration of your higher self and what it is connected to. And if you are blocking whatever it is that you are connected to, then you are not going to see it. So we are always in our own way. So if we step to the side, whichever side you want to swing through, just step to it and then watch the momentum flow come through again.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, you have to remember, I know a lot of spiritual people know this, but a lot of people who aren't totally into the spiritual thing don't know this, that when you get to the other side, and there's no human emotions anymore. Okay. Everything makes sense. So do whatever you want here. I mean, if you want to take what I said as like, oh, I don't have any real consequences. There's no hell. I'm not going to be, Hitler. I don't know if anybody's read Conversations with God, but it's pretty damn amazing. Mm-hmm. And God, God, who's being channeled through Neil Donald Walsh, says that Hitler's in heaven. And the reason for that is because when Hitler was doing what Hitler was doing, Hitler believed that he was doing what was right for his country. He felt in his heart that he was doing what was right for what his country needed. Why is God going to God, source, energy, going to punish someone for doing what they thought in human form was the correct thing to do? So when somebody rapes someone or beats someone or does that, do you think they're in their right mind? Or do you think there's something probably really wrong with them? Why are we going to be punished for that? So again, when you realize you have a choice in things and you're making choices, you're making actual choices, like healthy choices, so to speak, from a place of like, oh, I have a choice. There's consequences that are going to come from that. And your life's going to reflect that. And at some point you have to stop blaming the person that did beat you or the person that did whatever they did to you and forgive yourself for staying with these people and decide that your life is worth more. And I tell people all the time, it's like that energy doesn't just magically appear, by the way, just because you decide that you want to feel that way today. That's not really how it works. I mean, for some people it does, yes, but for the most part, I would say 95% of the time, that's not really how it works. How it works is you do it, and about 30 to 60 days or 30 to 90 days later, you start seeing the effects of it. But you have to get committed, and you have to get to this place of, I don't care what life throws at me. I know my value. I know my worth. I know I'm powerful. I know that I deserve a heaven on earth experience, which is our fucking birthright to have that, by the way. That is your birthright. And the only reason you don't have it is because you don't fully believe that you're supposed to have it. That is it. Right?
I'm sitting here, I'm like grasping my crystals because I'm like turned on by the conversation we're having here. It's amazing.
Because it's so powerful to get in that space. It is.
It really is. It really is. And, you know, let me ask you this. When you start to feel yourself going into a place of not worthiness or not powerful, and you start to you may start to see, as in this morning, you know, may start to have that feeling. What steps do you take? 1, 2, 3 simple ones do you take to start to move into more of a place of alignment? You know, Abraham Hicks says 17 seconds it can take for you to shift from one.
It does. And for me, again, I grew up in an environment where I wasn't allowed to be angry. I mean, I wasn't allowed to express my anger at all. And if I did express it, then it was grounded, lectured for an hour, you know, I mean, it was like the worst. I was not allowed to get angry. And so for me, when I start feeling, usually my key feeling is I feel frustrated. I feel really frustrated, on edge. And like, I'm just like, why am I so fucking mad?
Yes, I do too.
Like, I'm just like, what is going on? And so I ask myself so that I can give myself, and I start going through certain things that have happened. And I start going, is it this? Is it that? And I think today was like client stuff that I was like, not having enough clients coming in currently, like just like as a whole right now. And so, because I'm in kind of this, life's like this, and I'm kind of in this spot, and I know it'll do this again. It always does.
Yeah.
So I have to really tell myself, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about specifically what is like really pissing me off at this point. So right now in this place, what is it I can do? I can choose to say that I know it's real. I know the universe always works for me, not against me, ever. That is not the truth. I mean, the opposite is not the truth. And so the only thing I can say to myself right now is let it go. And when I say that to myself, I'm like, okay. I mean, if you say those words, let it, like really, truly, just let me, like, there's nothing I can do about today right now. What I can do is I can choose to let it go, because I know the universe is doing what's necessary for me. I know that. I know that's what's going to happen is going to happen in perfect divine timing. It always does.
Always.
And the more I'm in this space of what the hell is going on, the more now I just put myself back 3 days.
Yeah. Yep. I totally understand that. And it's funny. It's because that is really something that I've become aware of myself too, is when I find myself, well, first of all, I can tell when I've come up against some sort of triggering or resistance or an unconscious rub or something's going on, because I too, my default would be frustration or anger, and I would be like, oh God, I'm so fucking irritated. And and then I have wonderful friends. I have a beautiful friend who, she's an amazing question asker. So I'll be like, fuck this and all that, she'll be like, you want to take some questions? And then that's when I know, oh shit, if I take some questions, then I'm going to go through the spiral fears, and I'm going to go through it all, and then we're going to dig it out and yank it out and let it go. And sometimes it's residual, which is a word that you brought up earlier. I think a lot of people understand too. And as you're going through your own growth and awareness and awakening, and you're listening to this right now, does that happen to you sometimes? I'm on a roll, and then
and then it just goes, ding!
I try to start and think something. I think,
what the hell just happened? It's like spiritual brain fart. Yeah. Yes. Horrible. And Bruce is like, no, we don't want you to talk about that right now. You're like, but.
I know, right? Oh, there's 2 things I wanted to bring up. So the first one is that you were talking about, you were talking about how stop blaming what has happened, who did this, what did that. And that brought up a quote from Jen Sincero, which is, you may have not gotten yourself fucked up, but it's your responsibility if you stay fucked up.
To unfuck yourself, basically.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then right after that, you know, you are solidifying that the universe always has your back and supports you and is for you. And that of course brings up Gabby, of course, in my head always.
Love her.
Right. And it's always this or something better. And that is something that I have danced and sung around my house as I am overdrawn in my account and no food in the fridge, and I'm like, there's something better. Crying, and
which is also the phrase of, I'm willing to see my life as different and better than what it is right now. It's the same, it's just shorter. I like that one better because it's way shorter, but then yeah, there's definitely a space you have to get into where you just kind of go, okay, we're gonna have contrast. I mean, and at what level is dependent on you. And you have to remember that everything you're doing right now as well, the reaction you're having is going to affect you probably 30 to 90 days later also, right? So when you say residual, right? I mean, I don't know if people realize this, but your body is actually subconscious. It's your subconscious in physical form, because thoughts go like this. That's our conscious. That's you know, the conscious basically. So it's right now, it's a present, but your body is literally a reflection of what's being said
before. Yeah.
Like that's a reality of what's going on. So I mean, that's why, you know, people say, oh, well, okay, so Abraham Hicks, I love them and they frustrate the shit out of me, because they talk about the vortex, right? Being in this space of just allowing, which is basically the vortex, which is where you're just allowing. It's also the place where you do a lot of visualizations and you do all these things. And that's great and awesome. But sometimes, even when you've been doing the vortex, 3 months later, shit's not happening, or all of a sudden you've lost your job and you're like, wait a minute, if I'm doing all the things you told me to do, why am I suffering right now? Like really suffering. And it's hard to then say, okay, well, am I doing something that's keeping me, that's pushing clients away or keeping these? And then you get too wrapped up in the process of it, and now you're screwed.
Yes.
Now you feel like you're doing it all, like, am I doing it wrong?
And then you're constantly in a loop of okay, I'm feeling resistance, undoing with the growth, going to the vortex, feeling resistance, going to the vortex.
And then if you get angry, you feel like, okay, well, I just got angry, so does that mean that I've just now pushed away my stuff? And it's like,
relax.
There's a difference, right? There's a difference between being angry at your situation and being an angry person.
I love that. And I'm going to bring something up after that. Keep going.
No, that's pretty much it. Just there's a difference in that. So it's okay for you to get angry and sad. In fact, you need to, because if you don't, then that keeps an underlying feeling that keeps going. And now you become an angry person. So when you feel that, so that's why when I do get frustrated, I allow myself to just get mad and get angry and get pissed off. And when I do feel like I'm being triggered, when I think I've already cleared out shit, I let myself pull up my dad again and pull him in front of me and be like, okay, is this my problem again? What else is it, you know, that I haven't cleared with you? Let's do some work together.
Yes.
So,
well, and that's you know, we talk a lot about this too, and with other amazing goddesses that we've had on the podcast, we talk about how growth and you know, healing is really like peeling an onion. And when you think that you have, that onion is completely gone and you don't have any more, out pops another fucking onion, and you gotta peel another one. And I just had this experience myself personally just 2 weeks ago. And so I totally understand. And when you were talking about, there's a difference between being angry about your situation and being an angry person. I really feel that ties into shame.
Yes.
And so many people feel they tie guilt, which guilt would be about a situation. Shame is I am bad, right? So guilt is I did something bad. Shame is I am bad. Some Brene Brown lessons there for you.
I love
right?
Brene Brown.
I know. I could sit there and listen to her talk
forever.
I know.
She's amazing.
Brene Brown, if you're hearing this, I love you.
No, we love you. Please make an appearance. We love you.
Yes. So it really ties into that. And I want to kind of shift into this as well, since tying the guilt and then to the shame and into all of that. You have unleashed your divine inner beast, right?
Unleash your divine beast. Mm-hmm.
Unleash your divine beast. And I feel like those are some triggering words. The word beast, I think, triggers a lot of people because they don't understand that your definition of beast equaling power equals truth, right? So talk to me about, why is that your passion? How has that that name, maybe has it triggered any sort of shame releasing with you?
Sure. For me, it's been, again, with the whole "you're too much" thing. Like, you're an emotional beast, Tahsha. You know, why are you so beastly, bitch? Shoot. You know what I mean? Like, why are you so much? Why are you so intense? Why are you blah, blah, blah? And so for me, the whole word beast is more like me telling people, it's kind of like the shadow thing you were talking about, right? Like taking that word and making it something beautiful. Your divinity is a beast. And people unleash that bitch and let her take over, or him take over, that part of you take over, it does become beastly in the sense that it is going to overpower things in a positive, beautiful, amazing way. Like, I picture the beast like this big, you know, huge lion or tiger with like jewels over its head, and it's like this goddess type, you know. I mean, think about Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Beastly. Okay. Yes. Let's think about Beyonce.
Yeah.
That bitch is a beast.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, those are divine beasts to me, like the old school of it and the new school of it. Like, I'm not a huge Beyonce fan in the sense of, like, for music, to be honest, but her energy is not of this world.
Yeah, I fully agree. I'm right there with you on that.
Yeah, she has when I do anything that's like goddess divinity, when I do gifts on Facebook, it's always her.
Yeah.
Doing the fire, where she's walking away from the fire, the stuff she blew up in that video she did. I'm always posting that. I love her. So for me, it's more about learning to understand that when you are and have been somebody who has been shamed, and shame, it, by the way, is the lowest vibrational energy ever. Below hatred, below anger. I mean, all of it. Shame is the lowest vibrating emotion that is.
Anger is a very high vibration.
Yeah, it is actually. You're right. It is. People wouldn't think that, right? They think it would be just this like bad thing, and it's not. The shame is the worst. Like, even below hatred, it's horrible. So when you've been there, which if you think about the word shame, it makes you feel inward, it makes you feel small, it makes you want to hide, it makes you want to do all these things. A beastly, like letting a divine beast takes over, to me all of a sudden says, hands on hips, watch out, world, here I come. I'm going to storm through, and I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. Bye, Felicia, to all of you.
Yes.
You know? So yeah, so that's why. And I think if it's triggering somebody in an opposite way, then my program's for you.
Most definitely. That's definitely something I want to do. You know, when I hear, just with us connecting, and, we've been conversing via, Instagram and social media and stuff like that. But this is the first time we're like together, like talking and like, having this amazing energy. And, when I hear this, for me, I go into the deities, right? So I see the harmonized, combined Kali and Shakti fully like swirling and vibrating when I hear divine beast, because I feel like it's so important for everybody to understand that the anger, like we were just talking about, is a high vibration.
It's an action.
Yes, thank you so much. And for us to really fully embrace and embody the powerful and the power goddessness of our Shakti, we need to allow our Kali to come through. I'm just like throwing my hands a little.
No, you're all good, girl.
So, and that's why I love so much when you wrote, I wrote down, you gave yourself permission to get upset. And so many women in this world, and I think men, and this is kind of, I'm going to go gender here. I don't normally go gender, but women are so afraid to get angry because I feel of this codependent addiction that's run through for ancient thousands of years, right? And men utilize that anger as a source of their power, and they feel like they're real men, which we can get into an entire different
a whole other show on that.
Yeah, let me talk about that. So that is where I feel like, understanding that anger is an action, anger is a tool, anger is a high vibration, but not staying in the anger and focusing on why you're angry, or focusing on what got you to the anger, but focusing on how you can use that energy, transmute it into action, to allow your desires. And I think that's where you and I really complement each other on working, because the desire part is all of our sacral chakra. You work very intense with the chakras. If you aren't following Tahsha on her social media, she does makeup, which is a beautiful thing. She does her makeup to line up with the different chakras. So each day her eye makeup is a different color, and she's representing a different chakra. And I love it so much.
It's so much fun.
It's so much fun. So I'm just really, really loving this. So let me ask you this. I feel like we've gotten through so many wonderful things. We're running out of time, but before we go, I want to know, first of all, what is your biggest passion project right now that you're working on? How can people reach you? And why is your passion project something that will serve somebody who reaches out to you?
So I have a couple of things that are really started to happen. I think the one thing I try to push the hardest on what I do is my month-long package, which is where I'm giving you an hour of coaching a week. We are doing an hour of blue Reiki, which is a combination of blue Reiki healing and Reiki, which is having insane amounts of healing with people. It's healing pain. It's clearing abundance blocks. People are getting jobs the next day, like no joke. People are carrying around pain for years, gone in 20 minutes. People are meeting their spirit guides within 8 to 10 minutes of me doing healings on them.
So exciting.
Insane. It's amazing. And I do all of it by remote. If you live local, I'll do it local, but a lot of my clients are done over remotely. And then we're also doing a day every week. We're doing hypnotherapy. And then there's a past life regression that's in there. And then on top of that, there's what I call dreams meditation, which is something you do 6 things, 10 minutes a day, and you do it for 30 days. And that alone is having incredible shifts with people, because it's journaling, exercising, meditation, affirmations, visualizations. It's all kinds of things. So that's the thing I push probably the hardest, because it does take you and go, it's for those people that are like, I've done lots of things and nothing's working. Or I have been carrying this around for years and I have no idea how to let go of this. That is my thing I push the most. But I have a Facebook group where I do daily card pulls for everyone, as well as live video healings. And we break down like the chakras. We're doing this whole month, we're doing chakras. So we're doing 2 chakras a week and going across those. And then every day we do something different. So Mondays is EFT, Tuesdays is affirmations, Wednesdays is chanting, Thursdays is guided meditations, and Fridays we do like crystals and that kind of thing. So we're doing that as well. And that's only $11.11 a month. That's
fantastic.
It's insane. Everybody's like, why are you only charging that? Which means it's going to go up probably soon. To be honest, I'm doing way too much content in there. I'm probably going to make that group, probably just daily card and then healing, and that'll be $11.11. But for right now, that's what it is. You can find that under Unleash Your Divine Beast is my Facebook group. And then there's members only Unleash Your Divine Beast. So they're both under Facebook. I'm the only ones on there. So yeah, that's pretty much what I push the hardest right now, are those 2 things. I'm also doing Sisterhood Retreats starting this year in September, and between September and October, we're doing our first, me and Stephanie Quinn, who's also, you can look her up. She's amazing. Self-love coach, incredible woman. We are going to be doing on the beach somewhere in some awesome bougie, Airbnb probably.
I love it.
Yeah. So if somebody helping us to find that, and that's going to be, oh my God, sunrise meditation, yoga, qigong. We're going to do a spiritual baptism in the ocean.
Oh gosh.
Right. There's going to be massive workshops that we'll be doing to get really dive deep, everybody tell their story. 3 meals a day, including vegan options. Like, it's going to be insane.
That's awesome.
Yeah. For about 4 days. So lots of stuff going on. I'm also probably going to be doing some online courses that are just going to be like lower end price. People can still get some stuff done. That's going to be happening in June. So yeah, so just lots of expanding going on right now. And I'm super excited and grateful. Like, I'm so grateful to even be on here. Listen to the universe, people. Okay. When they start telling you things, because I literally have been getting messages that I'm supposed to be on more podcasts. And then you and I started talking. You're like, you should be on my podcast. And I was like, like, it's happening right now.
Universe.
So listen to that. Right, yes. And it's a month before the retreat thing was even a thought process or like was an actual thing. I've been telling Stephanie, I was like, I think we should do retreats like on the coast. I think it'd be fun to do like get together like 10 girls and do like a retreat thing and just, do that and teach and do all of it. And then a month later, somebody saw me like, oh, I'm doing all these online courses. She's like, you have a retreat there. And that's what I do is I manage people and help them find those. And I was like, oh yeah, hook me up.
That's
so
fantastic.
Listen to the universe, open yourself up, to do those things. But
yes, like Tahsha said earlier, be willing to see your life in an expansive and better way. And just willing is the operative word right there. The vibration of the word willing is so high that that's just going to be like, oh, it's like a ting that throws up, like it's like I'm looking at my view over here and I'm on a second floor and my windows, I'm absolutely in appreciation all day long. I live in Bob Ross painting. I'm down here in Eugene.
Oh yeah, Eugene's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm sitting over here and it's like I picture this, when you allow yourself to be willing and open, it's like things are shooting up and fireworks are going through.
Ah.
So I really absolutely love that. Tahsha, I have enjoyed this so much.
Me too.
I'm so excited. And I have now just a couple of rapid fire questions that are just super fun, very light. So the first one is, I already know this answer, but what's your sign?
I'm an Aries.
Yeah.
Very much Aries.
What was the last thing you looked up on Google?
I almost said porn, but that's not what it was, but that was the first thing.
That's mine.
I don't remember.
Incognito style.
I don't remember. I really don't remember. It was like today too, and I don't remember.
Okay.
Food. I think it was food, to be honest.
I love food. What song are you all about right now? What is describing, Tahsha, your life, your existence? What are you all in with what song right now?
I would have to say probably Sia's The Greatest. Which is a great song that talks about being able to just say, I am the greatest thing in the room and I'm okay with being that. Which is really powerful.
Yes.
Power in there.
That's fantastic. What spiritual text or book are you reading right now?
I'm reading a book about how actually PTSD actually affects your brain. That's probably the biggest thing that I'm reading right now. I love Gabby Bernstein though. I finished her The Universe Has Got Your Back, which is
I love that. I want to get her Judgment Detox.
Yes.
So bad.
Wish she'd come here.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe we should work on something.
Yeah, let's manifest that.
Let's do it. Done. And let me ask you this. What is one way that you are moving your body to honor your body?
Oh, girl, because of you. I literally have seen this girl post her routine of yoga every morning, and I'm so fucking inspired that I started. And I've been doing her 20, the one you told me to do. What's her name?
Erin Sampson.
Yes, Erin Sampson.
Parks Yoga.
I've been doing her 20-minute morning one every morning. And this morning I added, so that's like 20 minutes. And then this morning I added, started doing 20 minutes of Qigong on top of that right afterwards. So I only had 4 hours of sleep and still got up and did it this morning because I'm just like almost addicted to the feeling that I have after it. And I did yoga in college. I did 9 months of teacher training actually. So it's just been really, So that's been my thing right now is really getting that.
Good. Take it to the mat. That's something that it's been like the 5 words that have just come out of my mouth all the time, I think I'm going to do an episode on that, but I love that. And I don't think I'm familiar with Qigong.
I will send you the gentleman that I do stuff with. He's incredible. He's awesome. Okay. He's got a 10-minute and a 20-minute. He's got a morning and a night, but you feel just amazing from that. It's incredible.
Well, I am excited to try it. I am all about curiosity. That's my word of life.
For sure.
We are going to end this. This has been an amazing episode and so thankful that you came on and shared your time and energy with me today.
Yeah.
All of the listeners. I just can't wait to see a year from now.
What's going on, right? Oh my gosh.
Right? It's going to be
both of us.
amazing. I know. I'm so excited.
Well, thanks for having me on. Also, unleashyourdivinebeast.com. I forgot to say that.
Yes, thank you. And I'll go
right
ahead
there.
on my on YouTube is when we'll have the video, and in the podcast I'll put show notes, and we'll go ahead and put all your contact information there too. So awesome. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you for listening, everyone.
Woo.
Bye.